Hey guys, there's gonna be some weird background subtraction today, but it's working. And today we finally got, my USB is not long enough, but we got a microphone, so we have better sound. And this is Christian, who's gonna be part of today's video. Christian is a colleague of mine from Spain, Colombia.
No, from Madrid.
From Madrid, yeah, but you have a background of...
I have a lot of ancestry from different places, but Spanish.
Spanish mostly, fair enough. Yeah. And today we're going to talk about networking and how to create connection between two, three, four people within the same environment, and we're going to work on the old jazz hand project, and we try to create a scene where up to several people can join into the same scene and see each other's faces and hands animation to begin with. And then later we're going to work on how to manipulate these hands and manipulate objects, interactables in that scene. And so that the client or the other guy in the scene can also see me moving around stuff. And then on the long term, our plan is to maybe make even a gun to work on the network.
Yes.
Because guns are fun. Perfect.
Virtually.
Virtual guns. If anybody is listening to this, only virtual guns are fun. Never real ones. That's also absurdity. All right, so let's open up the... another thing we're going to do today. Today we're going to play a different version. So I'm going to become the student because Christian has been doing a lot of research on this new networking Unity tool. And we're going to do this video in a way that I am the student and he's trying to teach me how to implement networking on my game.
Yes.
So I will be doing whatever he's telling me to do, and I will be asking all the questions you guys may have while I'm doing it, so everything is clear and transparent. And then we're going to together look at the documentation, whatever, look at the, everything to figure out answers. And we will be making mistakes, so be prepared for that. But let's start the application. Here it is, and then let's make the two of us small here. Perfect. Okay. Then let's go. What do I do, Mr. Christian?
So the first thing we need to do is to import the appropriate packages.
Okay,
so
where do I do that?
Into Window, Package Manager.
Yes.
And then we search for Netcode for game objects or Unity Netcode game objects.
Netcode.
Yeah.
Ooh, there we go. Where do I press? Okay, sorry.
The install button. INSTALL.
Come again. Cool. Netcode for game object.
So the first thing we're gonna do is to test it locally.
Mm-hmm.
So if it works locally on like two different builds, then it's a safe bet that it should work when we have it actually on a server.
Awesome. And can you tell us a little bit about the previous tools we used to use to do networking?
Yeah, so previously we've used Normcore, we've used Photon Pun, we've used mirror networking, and then Unity used to have a different networking solution, but no one was really a big fan of it, different bugs and whatnot, deprecating it. But then last year in 2022, they upgraded to Unity Netcode for game objects, and it seems to be working really nicely, and a lot of people are switching back to it. And they provide a lot of tools to just like work on it straight out of the box. So yeah.
Because previously we used to have lots of projects using this Photon Pun, Normcore, and some other tools that are also easy to use, but they are external. And in this course we try to focus on everything Unity. And nothing external as much as we can.
Yeah.
Where did you go? There you go.
And there's like some of those solutions, like Mirror, it's open source and it's free to use. That's great, but then you need to build your own server and upload it. So they each have their own pros and cons. But with Unity, with this new package, we can just use that out of the box directly.
Cool. So now I have this package here.
Yes.
Let's have a look. What do I do?
So the first thing we need is to have somehow a script that would manage the networking of objects. So there's a script called Network Manager that Unity provides. So we can create
No, we should create it first.
Yeah, just an empty game object in the scene called Network Manager. And then we had a script called Network Manager to it.
Perfect. I love how the names just work. This one, right?
Yes, correct.
Perfect.
So then we see it has a bunch of different...
so it got documentation here, right?
Yes,
so if I press this button...
And it's really nice, it's updated, and they include everything you need to know.
Nice.
So whenever you have problems, because you will run into problems, then your best bet is to go online and search for it.
This is awesome. So remember that. Okay, I see there are something. There is the player prefab.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that the XR origin I drag in here, or what?
You will, we will do that, but for now it's just better to test it out with empty objects. So we also need to select which transporting solution we want. So it's just Unity Transport now. And then...
What is a transporting solution?
So different networking solutions have different ways, like protocols of usage. So there's TCP, UDP, and then different packages and frameworks use their own custom ones. But then Unity provides this transport solution.
Okay, nice.
So I mean, TCP is for reliable packages that guarantee that will be received on the other end, and UDP,
like emails.
Yeah, very important to be able to receive emails. And then UDP is for more unreliable, that it doesn't matter as much because you can interpolate. Like for example,
streaming.
Yeah, streaming, like in games, to like networking of positions. It doesn't matter that you do it every time.
It does in Counter-Strike though.
In Counter-Strike it does matter, yeah, for sure. But generally for positions it's fine to use UDP. Anyway. So
anything else?
Yeah, for now it's fine. We just need to be able to create have a player that's instantiated. So this works like networking. You normally have you have to have a server that hosts, like, is the master of all the networking that's going on, and then you have clients that subscribe to it. So what we need to do is when you want to connect to a server, you need a script that will manage how you do that corresponding to the player. So that's why we need a player prefab. So yeah, we can just create a network, an empty game object, and call it the network player, or whichever name you prefer. It's just
sounds like a good name.
Yeah. And then what we need to do is add a network object script.
This one?
Yeah, so that the network manager will identify this as a networked object. And then we should create a prefab out of it because we need to network instantiate it. It won't exist in the scene by default because otherwise you'll have duplicates and it won't work properly.
So should I just do it?
Drag and drop, convert into a prefab, exactly, and then you can delete it from the scene.
Wow.
Yeah, that one.
Perfect. So always, if you create something in here and you drag it into your inspector down here, a project inspector, it's not the inspector, the higher
project
windows down here, then it will create a prefab that you can spawn in your game whenever you want, for instance of it.
Yes.
That's one of many advantages of prefabs. But yeah, now we have this prefab.
It's like a prefabricated object. It's like creating a template of different behaviors. So now we should drag and drop our network player prefab into the network manager's player prefab field. And there we go. So with this now, if we save, so it doesn't lose, and then
Control S.
Yes. And then we play it just to see what happens. I forgot to mention, it's important to have the scene that's being networked onto the build settings. So
okay. Oh
yeah,
shit! I just closed it so I could.
Do it manually.
Yeah. It would do it automatically if I press.
It's okay.
But maybe it's nice to show how to do it.
Yeah. So now we close it and then.
So we go up here, build setting, and then it's open another screen. There we go.
Yes.
Then down here, please just say add open scene. You can also drag them from your project up here.
Yeah.
This is right now very easy. Jazz hands.
Perfect. Beautiful.
So now we try, okay?
Yes. And well, now it's got all the XR rig and everything.
Mhm.
But if you go onto well, what's the error over here? Action based.
No, that's nothing to do with this section.
Can you drag this and
Network
network
manager.
manager? You have no profile.
We need to fix that error or something.
So it should have spawned a network player. Can we see it here? Can you find it?
Is it network player?
Yeah. Like a clone, maybe. No, it's
It should fine if I just have anything player, right? There are no clones either.
Wait, no, sorry. Mistake, it's a simple mistake. I was just used to
Sure.
something else. So in Network Manager, we can see that there's starting a host, server, and client options. So well, a host, what it does is basically a server and client together in the same. So now that there's no setup, we need to define it ourselves directly. So if we start a host, then that means that we want to connect and start networking. So if there's another host already locally or in a server somewhere, then we can connect to it. But right now there's none, so we have to create the server. And to be able to see what's going on, we can join in as a client as well. So a host is basically both the server and the client in the same machine, but the tasks are differentiated, but working in the same machine. So if we start host, then we can join in. So yeah, now we can see in the hierarchy tab.
So I press the start host button just to explain, sorry, what I did
Yeah.
as a student.
Yeah. And then so now we can see the network player clone is instantiated with the networked object script. So yeah,
That's super cool. Does that mean that our network player is in the game?
that means that our network player is in the plane.
And
game
I control still the XR origin if the quest was running.
Yeah.
And then I will be able to see my network player, which is right now nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Cool.
we're not synchronizing any XR rig as of yet, but that's what we're gonna do during this lecture.
Yes. So I have a question for teacher.
Yes, student.
Do I always have to start the server manually like we did? Can we write a script for us to do that?
Yes,
or what's the plan?
we will write a script to do it automatically. This was just for debugging purposes,
Okay.
to show one step at a time what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, usually it's
Okay.
you have either a UI or buttons that you can interact with virtually, so you can start as a host or start as a client.
Okay. You could make a physical button that you can press, so we could play around with the event handlers
Yes.
of our machine. That would be
Agrees.
cool. So what's the next step?
So the next step, well, we could actually do that.
Not what I said?
Yeah,
Okay.
just to have it set up for the next steps afterwards.
So could it be one of these we already have? Maybe we can actually place it up on the table here.
Yeah, we can.
I'm just gonna duplicate the interactor, and you know what it got? It got a box collider, rigid body, and a grab interactable with some event handlers that we can use to our advantage in a second. This is gonna be our start server button.
We need another one that's also gonna be for starting the client in the future.
Then I'm gonna remove this stuff that is happening.
Yes.
And then it also doesn't need to be grabbable, right?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
just for having like an interaction event.
It does need, yeah, so we need to, actually this is a perfect opportunity to learn about another kind of interactor, which is not grabbable. So I'm gonna remove this, sorry, and I'm gonna cut the video, and we're going to create two new 3D objects. That's gonna be our buttons. Then what we can do is interact after is instead of interactable, simple interactable. These guys are so simple they cannot be grabbed, but they still have all the events.
Nice.
So also this guy get a simple interactable. So now it doesn't have a rigid body. It cannot move. It just stays in the air. But we can play around with like pressing it or pressing the trigger action button on it, and all this all these events. We still have access to those. Perfect. So let's just call it server start button. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's just call it host start because there's another
start
button that's why we cannot confuse.
And this one was client start?
Yes.
Client start button.
Beautiful. So, I mean, we can choose which interaction we want. Should it be like hover or?
I think hover is nice because it's basically just going in, and it could be only once, so only first hover enter, right? So we don't have to. That's not something we want to do accidentally.
Yeah, exactly. We can have a boolean afterwards if you already connect.
And that's the good thing about this is that it's just the first time it detects it and then it ignores it from there on. So that could be used. Okay. Now we have it. Where should we put should we write our own script or there is a script?
Like there is a script, but it would be nicer to have our own because we will be adding more stuff to it.
Okay. And the script that there is, where can we find it?
Network manager. You can directly call it the game object that we created before.
It can have on that one.
Yeah, so but instead of this, like so, we can just call a method inside the network manager.
Ooh, badass. Okay, so I can actually. For instance, I mean, just to do it in a different way, we could grab network manager, put it here, and do that.
Exactly. And then you would just say network manager and then start host. But actually, no, it has to be a singleton already. So you can't do it directly from the editor.
Can you remind the students what a singleton is?
So a singleton is a design pattern used for creating one static object that exists throughout the all of the runtime program, like the program runtime. So let's say that you want to create let me think. A player manager script that hosts all the like health of all players, where they are in the room and so on. So you want only one script of those to exist to manage all the different players, and you can access that script throughout all of the other scripts. So instead of having to reference individually every time on that specific script and initialize it, you can find it statically in any other script because it's the only one that exists. That's a singleton pattern. So it's a static object that only exists once throughout the whole program. You can't have any more than one. So the network manager is a singleton as well.
Cool. Should we write our own script then? And
yes.
Then
let's just call it connect. So we can have inside the network manager another script called like another script called like connect network or something like that.
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so when we open the script, we can start defining what it will do.
Nice.
So we'll create start host and start client methods, and they're gonna be public, so we can reference them directly on the Unity editor.
So what do I do here? I went to public. Should I do it right away? Or
yeah, that's fine. Public void start host.
Does it take anything as input?
Nope. We can just leave it as it is, no input, and then say we need to bring the network manager. I think not network manager. What was it? Netcode probably. So using Unity network library or Unity engine.netcode. I can look it up.
Unity engine.net. Networking.
Yeah. That's it. We can just try it.
Okay.
And then in the start host we can call network manager No, it doesn't have it. Okay, I'll look up what
Look it
it's
up.
called.
And that's the thing, we have the documentation, so we can look that up or look in the actual the script that we mentioned earlier. And you can open that script up to have a look at, if you're in doubt and you want to have a look at the original script, you can just open it up.
Over here.
Sorry?
Open docs, right? Is what you want.
Yes, exactly. Where is it?
It's right here.
Oh, no, yeah, sorry, open docs. Yeah. I couldn't find it. And then you can look through this for the
API documentation.
documentation.
But it's actually, the library is called Unity Network, Unity.Netcode.
Okay, so let's change that. Unity, just Unity?
Unity, yeah, exactly. .Netcode. I think Unity.Network was the old one.
Ah, there we go.
And then here we can say Network Manager.
There we go.
Dot singleton or instance, singleton. Dot start host.
Boom, client or host?
Start host.
Yes, of course. The other one was
And the parentheses for
sorry. There we go.
Beautiful. And then we can do the same for the client.
Perfect. So I'm gonna make another public method.
Yes.
Start client, is that okay?
Yeah.
And I'm going to press the right button.
Yes.
I'm going to make this see it big because that's how I do it, but you decide how you want to do it. I recommend doing it this way. Then we're gonna do network manager, singleton, and we're gonna this time start the clients, right?
Exactly.
And there we go. Is that okay?
Yeah, that is a fantastic script.
Thank you for being a fantastic instructor.
So now with this, we can go back to the Unity editor
Mm-hmm. There we go.
and drag and drop the methods to the host start button and client start button interaction events.
Okay, cool. Oh shit, what did I do? I think I pressed Control D. Did I duplicate anything? I wanted to press Control S to save. Anyways, okay, let's see. Okay,
So
start host button. I'm gonna drag this guy
exactly.
here. I'm gonna find what we wrote. Was it this one we
Yes, that is exactly.
made?
what it
And
is.
start host.
Yes.
That's just what we created.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna do the same for the other button.
Mhm.
On first hover insert, we're going to do the connect network start client.
Beautiful.
Boom.
And now we save the project.
Control
Very important.
S.
And then we can try running it to see if everything's working correctly. And if it does, we can try building it to see if two network players connect to the same scene
Okay.
locally.
And this has been on the floor all the time, but you can still hear us. So I'm just gonna put this on for the sake of putting it on. So now, okay, I need to go and press the button.
Yes.
Okay, the good thing is that now that we are two, that I don't have to check if
Yeah.
things are alright.
I can just check it.
Oh, look at this beautiful environment we created, guys. Wait, didn't we create a ladder last time? Oh, fuck.
Yeah, but I don't think you saved
I
it.
think I forgot to press save. Was it the blue pill or the green pill?
That's a good question. I don't remember. I can just look it
Yeah,
up.
maybe we can look it
so
up.
host start button, that's the... Yeah, so host is the green button.
Okay, so I'm gonna press that.
Yes.
Did it do something?
Doesn't look like it.
Maybe we should debug something.
I'm just gonna clear this. Can you try again? Okay, so we don't see anything happening, so we're just gonna go into the script and add a print just to see if
Wow.
it's actually even being called. So we can go over to the code and here we can just say
We're gonna debug log something.
yeah.
And then in here, if you write debug log, in here you can write any message or a variable or whatever, and it will show it in the console.
Yes.
Host is starting
Beautiful.
with huge capital letters, so it's easy to see.
And there's also a nice debugging trick whenever you know that there's an error somewhere in the script and you want to print it to the editor, you can actually say debug.log error instead, and it'll show up in red into the Unity console.
Should we do that?
I mean, for now this is fine because we know it's not an error. That's what we actually wanted to do.
So first hover insert and perfect. Okay, let's try. Sorry. Clear this one. Then let's go. I'm so excited not to watch also. Hello?
Nope, it doesn't seem to be hovering. Can you grab the other objects just to see if it's actually running? Because if it is, we just miss something on the setup. Yeah, you can grab it.
I also didn't save whatever I did to the gun last time because it's acting very weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay.
Yeah, it was the forward vector. It needs to be
I need
rotated.
to rotate that. So much. Oh, you have watched the video. Nice.
Yeah, of course. So let's just.
Should we just put it somewhere else? Yes. So we figured it out after some trial and error. Turns out the simple interactable is not that simple. What we have done basically is that under colliders here, there was nothing, right? And in the documentation, by the way, Christian mentioned something very smart here, that we can just press this one and then we go directly into the documentation, but like the base documentation, so we have to press something extra. Anyways, here it says colliders to use for interaction with this interactable. What we read here, it says if empty, it will use any child colliders. Fine.
But we don't have any child colliders.
No, so it didn't, but I mean, we assumed a little bit that it would just use this.
Yeah, exactly, we assumed, which is...
But yeah, so then we're gonna just drag and drop. That's what we did, but it wasn't enough, it turned out. Actually, maybe it doesn't need it still. Maybe it does, because that was not enough to make it work. We also found out that it also needs a rigid body that we had to add manually. But when you add, what's it called, the interaction grab, instead of simple, it will automatically add a rigid body. But because you're not grabbing it, on paper you should not need a rigid body. But we added a rigid body, but it was very important for you to use gravity. Because you don't want to, because if you wanted to be like a button on the wall. So now it works. So what we did, we add rigid body, remove gravity from rigid body, and then we here add colliders and we dragged our own collider into it. Something that we did not do with our other bodies. Which is also weird because they also have colliders that work. But if you look at under the colliders, help me out here, where is it? Here. No, it should have.
Doesn't seem
to have. No, it is here.
Ah, okay.
So if you look on the colliders here, it's empty. So it uses the on collider up here. Yeah, but so this one is it does what it wants.
But what I'm curious actually is, just to see, what if we go into the documentation of the grab interactable? Does it say the same about the child object? Yeah. Colliders. Yeah, it's the same. It says if empty will use any child colliders. So we assumed that it would work. It didn't work.
We still love Unity XR Interaction Toolkit. Don't get us wrong, but
yeah. What?
Okay. So now just to showcase that it works, remember we made a debug thingy. So as you see, we also try to give some feedback. So we change the color when it's pressed and the server is started. So now I can just simply go to do a Michael Jackson here, and then go over here, and then press, boom. And then it says debug.
Yeah, host is starting, and then we can also see the network player clone, the network player prefab has instantiated. So everything seems to be working.
Awesome.
So now I think what we should do is to test out also the client. So what we can do is build it for Windows locally, and then we first start the host in one, and then
shouldn't we make this button work also?
Yes, we should actually.
Let's do that then. I'm gonna put boom here. I'm gonna do what the thing you told me to create, the start host, start client.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we give some color feedback now that we did to the other one? So just we drag itself.
Interaction design.
Medialogist.
Feedback. You know.
Material. Should it also get red? Let it get red. Because then everything is, everything is started.
Yeah.
So There we go.
And we should probably also, did we add the rigid body and the collider to this as well?
So, now we can remake it so people can see.
Yeah.
I keep losing the collider. Here it is.
Here. So
And this one comes down here, and we add a rigid body, and we say don't use gravity.
Yeah.
Kinematics should not matter. Let's see. You never know. Just gonna test it, because probably got a mind of its own. Oops, it
Alright,
works.
so the feedback works. It hasn't joined as a client, but it has debugged that the client is starting. Actually, wait, can I see the script? Because we wrote host in both. No, it said both host and client is starting.
Because I pressed it. When I press this one.
Yeah,
Maybe maybe this requires the host to be started. Maybe it does both.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It does require it. So it should print this even if there's no host. But if you go back to
it print both. But I pressed the other button also.
You press both.
But I press it afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't worry. I'm just so fast.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what we can try now is to build it locally. So file, build settings, and we should probably also before, before building it, we can, do that. Build settings, and then if you go into player settings, actually, let's just make sure that we make it a window so we can see both instead of full screen by default.
Where was it? You know that.
Then full screen, just make it windowed, and then resizable. Let's just do it just in case it's too big. Yeah. Cool. So we save that, and
cool.
Yeah, we can build now. But also I have a suggestion for when you're debugging a build. It would be nice to be able to have some logging directly in the Unity runtime. So what I usually do is to make the build a development build when I'm prototyping, and then all the errors that happen will show up on the screen. So we can select development build over here, and it should show any errors if there are any.
Should be build and run or just build?
It's the same, but instead of having to click as many times.
Whoa.
Like it'll build the same way.
Give it a nice name, the jazz class.
Also another suggestion.
You want a folder for it?
Yeah, exactly. For whenever you if you're using GitHub or anything, you can add this whole build folder to the Gitignore, so it doesn't upload the builds as well.
Cool.
Beautiful. And it'll work. It'll definitely work.
Definitely.
And now you would just wait for it to build. So the first time it'll usually just take a long time, but then once it's built, it'll add to it instead of building from scratch every time. And if you whenever we're building directly to the headset, we should switch platform to Android. And while prototyping, I would suggest making patch builds, because it's way faster than building from scratch every time. It just adds the newly compiled modifications that we've done in the code and the editor, like the project itself.
Now let's go to some lobby music. No, music. Elevator music. It started, and I just gave it access to internet. Da-da-da.
Okay, so for now we get the same error as before. That's fine.
Yeah.
That means the development.
Oops.
Yeah, if we have any other errors, it'll show up again. I think.
Should we?
We open it in the editor now.
Only we have
but actually, we can just start the host here directly.
Here.
Yeah. So you go inside into the VR headset.
Oh yeah. Sorry, but it doesn't start. It start
Yeah,
now.
it starts. It just takes a while
There we
to
go.
set the Oculus to the build specifically.
Okay, are you ready?
I was born ready.
Wow.
Hey, nice. All right, cool. So the left one was the host, the green one. So now if we go back to the other editor and we run it, well, Ali will join as the client on the blue button, and it should hopefully join, and we will be able to see both. You can just go in and then we can show the game objects. Because if it instantiates
Yeah,
here,
maybe we should look at the game because there is nothing on that.
Is there nothing going on inside here?
Yeah, there is.
Ah, okay.
As you can see.
I just got confused. Sorry.
Should I
Go to the blue.
start the client
blue
now?
one. Yeah.
Anyway.
Alright, so now we see it's working correctly. We have the network player clone and network player clone.
Hey.
So one for each one. So the network object ID, so on client ID is 0, this is the host, the one that firstly initialized it. And then the server. And then we have the other object, which is us in this editor. So it seems to be working.
Awesome.
So now what we can do is try and add some feedback so we can see the head of our avatar and the hands.
That would be awesome. So I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna also close the game.
Yeah. And then this is working locally
And this is
for
working
now.
locally for now.
And later we'll modify it so it we can log in. Sorry, not log in. We can have a server set up over the internet so you can connect remotely to it as well. But for now, just development purposes locally.
Perfect.
Awesome. So if what we want our network object to have is a reference to the head and our hands. So I would suggest like instead of directly adding the network object to the XR origin rig, we want it to be working locally. We don't want to make duplicates of it because then we need to define who is who. So for simplicity, to our player prefab, the network player prefab, we could add a reference that follows a singleton of our hands and head position. So we can make a script called VR rig references.
Should be a network manager.
It doesn't matter. We can place it in whichever, but in my projects I
Just
normally
for-
add them to the XR origin rig.
Just for the cleaning up sake.
Yeah.
What did you call it?
VR rig references.
VR rig references.
So we have like the rig is composed here of our head and hands. So we can we basically want to have a reference to our avatar and then separately make that appear on our other clients.
Nice. There we go.
Cool. So actually, this is a good way of learning what the singleton pattern is. So we can just create a public and static type of the VR references type. Static. VR rig references, so the same name as our data type,
and
and then instance or singleton, whatever name you want to call it.
Singleton, how do you spell it?
You say it with single, like
all the single
ladies.
All the single ladies, all the single ladies.
Yeah, exactly. And then what we need to do is to make sure that only one of these exists. So on awake, or
what is the wake?
So awake, is the same as start in the sense that it only executes once at the beginning, but it executes before start. It's just a matter of sequence of events. I normally do this in awake in case I set other references to the singleton in start. if we do it in a way, we make sure that it's already initialized.
Yes.
So, and here we need to say if instance is null. If our singleton is null, then we can say singleton equals this. Exactly. So what we're doing here is we're making sure that our static object, so only one global across all of our program, will be referencing to the initialization on a wake of this script. So normally you will add if there's another one, then destroy this object, because like just in case you create other classes of the same type accidentally. But
should we?
Yeah, just do it just in case. So just else,
then just
we add the curly brackets.
So I don't want anything.
We can say destroy and destroy and then game object. Yeah. So what we're doing is making sure that it will make sure that only this one exists. So if you instantiate another one of this class accidentally, it will destroy it, because we only want one source of truth that holds the variables of this data type. So what is also usually done is don't destroy on unload, I think it's called. So that if you change to a different scene, it will still keep it alive. But for now, we don't.
For now,
really
we're gonna keep into the same scene, right?
Yeah, so we don't really need to add it just yet. But this is the singleton pattern.
Cool.
It's very useful, but make sure that you don't overuse it, because then everything will depend on every other script. But very useful for this purpose. So now we can go back and. Well, actually, we need to define the variables that we want. So we want our root, head, left hand, and right hand. So let's just go back to the script.
So here we create.
Yeah, and
here
we
public, so you can drag.
Exactly.
Should we get some coffee first?
We can get some coffee.
Right.
Hello.
Hello, welcome back. We got some coffee with a beautiful logo on it.
I don't think you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. The Multisensory Experience
Multisensory Experience Lab.
Woo! Represent. Alright, so
I need to create some references, you said?
Exactly.
Ooh.
So we just created a VR references script, and in here we're gonna hold references to our root, head, left hand, and right hand position. Yes, the other screen.
Okay, so it should be public, and then it should be transforms, or it should be game object. Transforms, right?
Yeah.
And then transforms, and then I call it what, head?
Root. And then we can create the same for the head.
Head. Do we need for each hand?
Yeah, left hand and then right hand. So we want to they're individual objects, and we want to synchronize their position, rotation, and so on. So if we have a reference to it, then we can use them in another place.
So now, if I go to Unity,
exactly, we are going to drag and drop our corresponding transforms to the VR references.
our body parts, and
Exactly,
they should
so
be in here somewhere.
Yes, XR origin rig will be our root, just directly.
It's gonna open some stuff here. Yes.
Then our main camera will be our head, because that's where our head is. And then I think we can actually use the controller. I'm not sure, don't remember how this was set up, but if it doesn't work, then we'll just modify it.
Is that all cool?
So it's just like when you're moving, we just want to hold the reference to that transform position, rotation, and scale. And then, so what we want to do now is create a network player script. So that way we can handle all the networking functionality for the player.
Should it be again on the X origin?
Nope. We created a network player prefab. So
oh yeah, that's right.
And that's where we're going to handle everything related to the player. So we go to wherever it is created. Yeah. When here we can just create a network player script.
Should I call it script?
Nah,
I was like, I'm just automatically copy pasting whatever you're saying.
So then we open that script whenever it's created and finish compiling.
Mañana. Taking its time.
Emo on. So yeah, we open it, and in here we're going to learn about a new type of data type, and we're going to inherit from it. So instead of our mono behavior,
What does it mean, inherit, like money and stuff?
like sort of,
Huh?
but for object-oriented programming, there's this concept of inheriting from other parent classes. So all default game objects in Unity all inherit from mono behavior, which has already defined events, methods, variables that exist for all objects that you want of the same data type. So for example, the method start, update, and so on, they exist within the mono behavior class. So there's, for networking, Unity provided another data type called network behavior, which allows us to have access to data types and methods specifically for networking solutions. So such as when I want to know when my object has spawned, so I can it'll execute that method for us automatically. So instead of mono behavior in here, we're gonna inherit from network behavior.
So I delete this.
You delete that exactly.
Okay. And we're gonna inherit from
Network behavior.
Do I need to?
We actually do need to import a library. It's the same using Unity.Netcode.
And then I'm gonna
say network behavior. Beautiful. So then we can remove the.
Oh shit! Sorry. My bad.
So this network behavior, as I said, will give us all the nice tools and variables that we need to start synchronizing our objects. And when I say synchronizing, I mean having the same values for our data types on the server, and the server makes sure that the clients receive it. And that's how we make sure, like games like Counter-Strike, Fortnite, all these games have that methodology. You synchronize, the client sends information about what's going on in the client side to the server, and then the server sends it to all the other clients. That's how it works. Unity documentation has nice documentation on how other server functionalities and methodologies do it, but we're gonna be doing it this way. Okay, so cool, we have a network behavior. So what we want to do now is to create the reference for our root, head, left hand, and right hand. And these will be on our network player prefab. So we have one on the XR origin rig, and then on our network player prefab is going to be looking at the one we have locally and the references that we just created, and then synchronize those across the network. So we have a separate object that exists in everyone's computers, basically. So yeah, and that's why we separated, because we don't want duplicates. We want to make sure that we only synchronize what we need. So let's just go ahead and create our root, head, left hand, and right hand variables. So we can just inside the class.
Am I outside? I'm outside. Let me go in the class. Also, you guys, if you're outside the class, get back in the class.
So we can actually make a serialized field.
And why is it a good idea to? What is serialized field?
So a serialized field is I don't remember what the type is, but it allows our private variables to be visible within the Unity editor. So it serializes our data types on the Unity editor, so we can initialize them directly from there. So if we were to have it public and not not be careful with it, then you can modify the value of our public variables from anywhere in the program. However, if we make it private, it can only be modified from within its own script, so we make sure that we control it at all times from within the script or within a reference to that.
I'm trying to not type because it's so loud, my keyboard, that I can't hear it. So now, okay.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry if I disturbed.
No.
There we go.
Cool. So now we have serialized private fields for our transform. So what we can do now is create those references inside our network player prefab. So we can go back to our Unity editor. Yes. And when it's finished compiling, we open the player prefab. Which I don't remember what it is. Prefab probably.
Oh yeah, I see prefab. Sorry. There we go.
Yeah, cool. So so if we open it, we can actually add objects to it, because right now it's an empty game object. So we can create the same structure. So we can add the root. Actually, probably the root we can just keep as the same network player.
And what about this we have here? Shouldn't we fill that out?
Yeah, exactly. So like we're just gonna drag and drop its own. So if you create, for example, the left-hand one right now.
So I should just create
3D.
left up game. Yeah.
Yeah. So this will be our visualization and synchronization of our player.
But can we use the visualization that the XR Origin already provides with the hand model and its animations?
So you have to, like, this is what the other clients will see. You have the one that you already, like, you have.
But can we make them see my hand as my hand instead of, let's say I make a cube?
Yeah, so you have to do a duplicate basically. So you have one on the XR Origin, which is the one that exists only locally to you. And then you have one that exists under this network player prefab. So you can add the same hand and like left hand and right hand meshes.
Yeah. But for now, let's make a cube.
Just for like prototyping, we can just leave it like this.
Left hand.
Yes.
I just press Control D and make the right hand.
Yes.
And then the camera, the head. It should be the parents now. Or is that doesn't matter?
That's gonna be the main camera.
Yeah, but should it be like should they have a relationship?
No, then it's fine.
No relationship.
We can keep it. Yeah, exactly.
Should they make a root?
Yeah, so I think the root is actually just going to be our network player itself.
So I just drag and drop here?
Yes, to head, left hand and right hand.
And should we not do anything with root for now?
I think we can just add the network player itself. Yeah.
Okay.
So great. Okay. Now we have that. So we can go over to the script again.
Maybe the head. Sorry, my bad. I want to make it round.
Yeah,
just for the sake of.
Yeah, for sure.
Making a sphere. There we go.
Yeah, and actually probably modify it, bring it a bit upwards. Nah, it's fine actually. It's gonna be. Nah,
I think it's gonna follow if it's follow.
So maybe actually leave it as it was. So reset its transform. Yeah.
Where is it? There we go.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so alright, so now we can go back to our script and make sure that our root, head, left hand and right hand positions are set based on the VR rig references that we created. So our network player is going to be copying the positions of and rotation and scale of the local XR Origin rig that we have.
How do we tell this script to do that?
So we go into our update method because we want it to be executing every frame. And there's an important step, which is making sure that you're the owner of this script. Because otherwise, whenever I move on mine, it'll do it on yours as well. So we need to make sure that for each player, we are the owners of that object.
VR.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so we can add a conditional statement at the beginning of the update method to make sure that it's the owner. So network behavior provides is owner variable.
Ooh,
so
really?
Yeah. So if is owner,
oh,
voila, simple as that.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Super nice.
Then we can execute the following code, which is going to be synchronizing the position and rotation and of all of our head, root. And
Badass.
so on.
Okay.
So let's just start with our root position. We just say, so root dot position equals VR rig references dot our instance or a singleton. I think we call it a singleton. Yeah. And then dot root dot position.
Oh, badass.
So we're basically making this to basically copy our actual XR origin rig that's going on locally.
Can we do the same for the heads?
We should also do the same for rotation to make sure that it also synchronizes. Yeah, and then the same way. Beautiful. And then we do the exact same method for our head.
See you in a...
Yeah. Beautiful. Alright, so now what we can do is...
Oh, fuck.
What?
There is something wrong here. All the way.
What do you mean?
Hey.
Ah,
Sorry about that.
he's fluent in French.
Yes. Oui, oui.
Naturellement.
Oui, croissant.
Fromage.
Ananas.
Cool.
Okay, there we go.
So, alright, now that we have that, we can add our network transform script to our individual parts, so like the head, left hand, right hand. So
we go back.
We go back to the Unity
Go
editor.
back to the Unity editor.
And in here, what we're going to do is, Unity has provided us with a script that's called network transform.
Mm-hmm.
However, and that will synchronize the position, rotation, and scale of our objects. And it'll use this UDP framework that I was talking about, the Unity transport, to interpolate whenever there's any lag in our internet.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to we can directly add the network transform, but soon we'll realize that the server has authority over it. So to make sure that it's the player who owns that, we can override a certain method. So we can create a script called client network transform, and we add that onto the individual
body
parts of the player prefab, the network player prefab.
The network player prefab.
Yes.
Okay.
That's where we have all of our networked player functionality.
So I go to the prefab, I double click it so I can come in here and work with it. So I start with left hand because I'm left-handed.
Yeah, beautiful. And in here we want to have, so
what should I call it?
You can see that if you write network
it's here, of course.
transform, it does give it, but we want to create our own that inherits from it, so as to be able to override its initial functionality. So we just create one, so write client network transform instead. Beautiful.
Thank you. I use those fonts myself. I choose the font myself. Come on.
And then when it's finished compiling, it's done. Great. So same as we did last time, we're gonna import our Unity Netcode library and inherit from, instead of network behavior, it's gonna be network transform.
Transport.
So it synchronizes the transform of our.
There we go. Client network transform.
No,
no,
just
without transform. It didn't suggest it.
It has to be capital N.
Transport again. What?
Wait, no, hold up. Maybe no. I'm actually missing a library. It's not Netcode. It needs an
library.
extra one. Let me see. Components. So use Unity Netcode components. Yeah. Apologies.
No problem. There we go.
Beautiful. All right. So great.
Great.
In here, what we're going to do is we can delete actually all of this update and start methods, because we don't need those.
Bye
We
bye.
just need to make sure that we own this object, the client object. not-
Awake? No?
So there's a method that network transform gives us, which is called onIsServer authoritative, and we can override it.
On what? On?
So we
Network
just write override, and then override bool, because it's going to be a bool type that it returns, and then on onIsServer authoritative. So and here by default it says return our parents onIsServer authoritative method. But what we want to do is to make sure that the client owns this, not the server, because this is going to be our client network transform. So instead of returning this, we're going to say return false. So onIsServer authoritative is going to be false. So
I'm not going to return this?
No, we're not going to return that. We're going to return false.
Okay.
Because that's telling the program that the owner of this object is us, not the server. So the server isn't authoritative over this object. So great, that's all we need to do on the script, is just to override that.
Okay,
And
so that we have the power.
exactly.
That's it.
So we can actually see if you're interested in seeing how, like, what this is, or what the network transform has, or any other script. If you click on them, and in Visual Studio, Writer, VS Code, whatever you're using, you can actually press F12 on the, like, you need to hover, click on it. And then if you press F12, you can see how it was made and which variables it has. Which
You can also right click and go to definition, no?
yeah, we can. F12 is just a shortcut I'm
Yeah.
used to. And then in here we can see all the variables that it has, everything that we can override. So if you scroll downwards, we can see all the methods that are available.
And you
for
need to
us.
explain all of this at the exam, by the way.
Yeah, and if you miss a semicolon, you're done. Yeah, it's a fail. Okay, so great. Now we can add this recently created script, our client network transform, to the transforms that we want to synchronize on our client.
All of them.
Yeah?
Left hand, right hand,
exactly. Precies.
Precies. What did we call it? Client network transform. Okay. There we go. Client network transform. You get one. Client network transform.
You also want one, you also get one.
Get one. There we go.
He's Ali right now is rich in client network transforms, and then our network player will also.
You get one also. Don't feel sad.
Don't worry.
Client network transform.
Beautiful. All right. Awesome. So it's also, I think that does it automatically add a network object to it? Can you click on the
Which one do you want
on
to see?
whichever? If you go down, does it? Okay, no, it's probably gonna ask us to add them.
We need a network object on it?
Yeah,
On all of them?
Let's just see
Let's
if it
just
asks
see.
us for it or if it doesn't work.
See.
Okay, cool. So now let's try running it.
I don't want to run. Oh, run it.
Yeah, sorry, like play. So we go into our.
Should we run it? Should we start the build?
For now, let's just see if it runs in the editor and doesn't give us any errors.
Now let's just see if it runs in the editor and doesn't give us any errors.
So right now, so remember we have our XR origin rig, which is what we've been working on, like Ali has been doing on all the past videos. And then we also, when we start the host, it will connect us to the network. So it will hopefully instantiate our network player prefab with the
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit.
oops,
Whoa.
accidental teleportation. Okay, let's just
What is
start.
going on?
Let's just start.
No, because my
again.
left hand ran out of powers, I had to teleport. I
Ah.
put the locomotion on the left hand,
Yeah.
so I had to teleport. But where did I teleport? I just started the server and this happened. Because I want to teleport to this guy over here. I want to face this direction because it
Yes.
made such a nice. And
And
then I'm
then
gonna
we-
press. Whoa!
Huh.
This teleports me when I start the server.
Ah, okay, so what?
This is awesome.
Hold up. Hold your horses.
Holy
I
shit.
think we Or doing something else.
It is instantiating me like the hell away from everything.
I just want to see. So
So we figured out what was wrong. In our network player, the boxes we created, they were so big that they just pushed the player fly away.
yeah, and also we don't need any colliders on them because this is just going to be copying the reference of our actual colliders.
They have a visual purpose to visualize it for the other
Exactly.
or Dudine.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we removed the collider and we also resized the things because if you remember in our scene all the cubes everything is very small 0.1 0.1 but they still look reasonable here. So we resized both the left hand, right hand and the head.
Yes.
And try to give the head a little bit egg shape.
Yeah, so it looks more like a head than a sphere. And
So now it works and if we start this battery I put in was also empty. So let's see. Boom.
All right.
So now maybe if you can change to game view,
yeah,
they can see my head.
The scene view.
Scene view.
So I'm just gonna remove gizmos for now. You can see the head of Valley. It's just so the left controller is out of battery, so it doesn't work. But this does work. So our reference is working, and this is all on our network player clone with their corresponding client network transform.
Awesome.
So everything seems to be working. What we can try to do is to try and build it and see if it actually works on both clients.
So we can see each other.
Exactly. So we can save it.
Save.
Just make sure. And build and run. Crying.
No feelings. Okay, just gonna start this. Wow. I'm gonna start the host now.
Yes.
Ah,
And that was our left one, the green button.
Yes. Whoa. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna press. Boom.
Beautiful. All right.
I'm gonna go over here.
Yes.
Nice.
And now we're gonna go over to the editor. You can keep it on. If
I'm
you want.
keeping it on.
Yeah. So at the beginning, we won't see anything. That's because the client hasn't joined. So Avi's going to go ahead and press the Start Client button instead.
Oh snap! Let's start the client button, and I'm gonna press it. Oi!
Wow,
Hey!
so if you turn around, there we go!
Oh,
It's
hello!
both of us. Nice. So if you go over to the other build, the one that's running.
Hello!
Beautiful. So
Man, I feel like I'm two people. I feel.
yeah, exactly.
Hey,
So here I'm just gonna visualize both. You can see both of them running. Beautiful. Wait,
Because I wish I had my other hand with me.
Wait, so I'm gonna resize this so it.
Which one are you resizing?
It's black. I think resize.
Oh man, this is weird that you're throwing me from.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, what is real?
It's actually,
There we go. Visible on both clients.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Cool.
Beautiful. All right.
We are online.
Nice.
Ish.
Sorry.
Not online. We are on local network.
Yes. But this functionality will be replicated. It's the same for relaying it onto the internet.
Are we gonna cover that now, or are we gonna cover that later?
I think we should cover it later, and for now we can try and make the synchronization of objects.
Awesome.
Exactly.